Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. 'Tis I, Count Dracula, once again. And I'm sorry that multi-voice reviewer should not be here for today. After knowing about this whole Pennywise deal, he decided to take a little bit of a break. And besides, multi-voice reviewer will not be here this weekend, sadly, folks, because he has to go to a men's conference, but he will return next week. So, as Count Dracula, I got a treat for you. What will I be reviewing for you today is the one I did mention on the top 10 worst female superhero movies. You know, I have mentioned her, but I never had a chance to do a decent review of her until today. And the review I got for you today is none other than... Hang on a second. The review I got to you today is none other than... Vampirella. I have to say, what a woman. You see, Vampirella here, throughout history, she was the very first vampire superhero. And she was the first vampire superhero who appeared in the comic books. And it was created by none other than Forrest J. Aquaman. For those of you who know who he is, and for those of you who don't, he was the one who has his own museum where he collects everything that belongs to all the horror movies throughout history. Heck, he even has my ring. And I really want it back. And I'm not wearing my medallion for today. I'm sorry, folks, as you can see here. Anyway, and he also created the series of magazines that some of you people in the 50s might remember. Famous Monsters of Filmland. The magazine that talks all about monsters and the movies. But who'd have thought that he decided to get himself into comic books? And this was his first female vampire superhero he created in history. And she started back in 1969. Oh, 69. Sorry. Anyway, how her origin goes in the original comic is this. They say that she is an alien from another planet called Dracula I. Imagine that. Have a planet named after me called Dracula I. And of course, one thing about her planet, the river and water are red in that planet. So pretty much, instead of water, they have blood in rivers and lakes. So I guess that's how these vampires survive in that planet. And then all of a sudden, she had met a group of astronauts, their last name known as Van Helsing. Sorry, I get really mad when I mention the name Van Helsing. I try to calm myself down. Anyway, the astronauts known as the Van Helsing, they are vampire hunters. And they almost tried to kill her, but they finally realized that she is good. Unlike other vampires, she's a good one. So, they have decided to have her in their board and took her all the way to Earth, where there are other vampires and monsters involved, and she's the only woman who can defeat her. And then about the 70s and 80s, Vampirella had been switched to different companies, to another independent comic book company, where they kept her story. Until all of a sudden, now the latest company who owns the right of Vampirella is Dynamite Entertainment, and she still looks the same even today. But of course there's more to her backstory now. They decided to put more into her story. Like for instance, like she figures out she's not really a vampire from another planet. She is actually the daughter of Lilith. You don't know who Lilith is, do you? In one of Christian mythologies, they used to say that Lilith is Adam's first wife. And he broke up with her and therefore met Eve, while Lilith made out with the devil. I've been a vampire for a long time, and there is no such thing as Lilith. Even though I'm a vampire, Lilith doesn't exist. Trust me, I know. Heck, I even gone through all the histories and everything involving with vampires, but Lilith doesn't exist. Anyway, she discovers that she is a daughter of Lilith. So now she is struggling of becoming good or becoming evil. Join her mother and kill all the humans throughout existence and turn Earth into a new Dracula I. By the way, the idea of her origin, they said she was hypnotized and had amnesia, making her forget that she was daughter of Lilith and say that she was an alien from another planet. So that was made up. I can't tell. And of course, throughout the comic book, she meets a shape-shifting Egyptian princess who shape-shifts herself into a panther. Arr. And also, she goes one-on-one with yours truly, Count Dracula. And at first, I started out as her immortal enemy, and now there are comic books where now we both work together for a purpose. But she always sides with the Van Helsing family. And of course, trying to find a way to destroy Lilith because she's the #1 evil vampire of them all. And of course discovered Dracula, and even also discovers my daughter. Well, one of them, I guess. Now I know some of you are thinking, first time looking at her, you don't think of her as a vampire superhero. You rather think of her as a stripper or a prostitute. But she's definitely a superhero, with bat-like abilities and agilities. And for her thirst of blood. Vampirella got so popular that back in the 80s, which Multi-Voice Reviewer had mentioned, did do a movie of Vampirella. Starring Talisa, and of course, Richard Daltrey. You know, the band leader of Who, playing me. I don't know about his performance playing me, although they don't call him Dracula in the movie, they call him Vlad. Although the actress, she was very good playing Vampirella, but they should have done more to her movie. And of course, on Vlad's idea, after coming to Earth, he started out as a rock band. A rock star. Who are you? Who, I very want to know. Sorry, I get carried away when it comes to music. Sometimes I do dig the music. And I wouldn't be surprised it was one of the ideas from Vampirella stat books. Gosh, don't you know how much I miss Anne Rice? Her stories are way better than Twilight. That's for sure. Anyway, this here is Vampirella for you. And this, without a doubt, is the first female superhero in comics. Before Barnabas Collins from Dark Shadows and of course Nicholas Knight from Forever Knight. So, sorry this video is short because that's all I can find about Vampirella. So for those of you who likes this video, please leave a comment down below, hit like and subscribe. And if you don't mind, Multi-Voice Reviewer will be back next week. Because he discovered something very special that he would love to review from all of you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm getting hungry. Looking at Vampirella makes me very hungry. So excuse me. Ha! Get back here, you little rabbit!